Finally, the WNBA and its owners have sent a proposal to the union. After 6 weeks of seeing Nneka Ogwumike show up on the caller ID and just letting the phone ring, after 6 weeks of receiving text messages from the players union and leaving them on red, after 6 weeks of email after email after email after email, and the owners saying, gosh, these chicks are annoying. Finally, they said, you know what? Let's just throw something together real quick.
And six long weeks. That's how long the WNBA owners left the players union hanging on read. 6 weeks of texts left unread, emails collecting dust, phone calls that echoed into nothing. And when they finally dropped a proposal this past Friday, the timing said it all about how seriously, or not, they were taking these negotiations. While Nneka Ogwumike was down in Nashville preaching patience and telling players they had the luxury of time, the owners were apparently using that same clock to shuffle a few commas and swap out some words, like nothing else mattered.
Maybe we'll appeal to their emotions a little bit more, because, you know, this is an emotional bunch here. I like that, Bane. The owners are going to submit the same proposal they submitted before the Players Association's December proposal. How funny would that be? Now, Nneka Ogwumike was down there in Athletes Limited. In hindsight, now we know that they sent a proposal. But let's just read along, shall we? President Nneka Ogwumike and WNBA staff were in Nashville last night, where they held a players-only meeting with AU players, including executive committee members Breonna Turner and Alicia Clark.
The players put their proposal on the table around Christmas. Now, here we are, just a week from Valentine's Day, and the league finally decides to respond. This isn't a negotiation tactic, it's a power move, plain and simple. And what really exposes their hand? The union had been framing this as a collaborative effort, talking about both sides wanting a deal. But you don't ghost your negotiating partner for 42 days if you're serious about collaboration. No, you do it when you want to make it crystal clear who really holds the leverage.
Alexa Filippo of ESPN can confirm that the WNBA has submitted a new proposal today to the WNBPA, as expected following Monday's meeting. The WNBA Players Association initially submitted a proposal around Christmas that the league had yet to formally respond to until today. They sent a proposal around Christmas, and here we are 1 week out from Valentine's Day, and the league said, all right, just send them something back.
Now, we don't know exactly what's inside this new proposal yet. The league hasn't released the details, and the union is staying tight-lipped as they dig through it, but we do know what was in the previous offer. And that's where it gets really intriguing, because the owners had already put 37 major improvements on the table compared to the last CBA. Free league pass for players. Maximum salaries leaping from $249,000 to potentially over $2 million across the deal. Charter flights guaranteed. Pregnant players granted the right to refuse trades. 2 developmental roster spots per team. That's not small change. That's a huge upgrade in both working conditions and pay. So why are we still stuck here, waiting with no resolution in sight?
The players' union left with the understanding it would soon have a new proposal on a collective bargaining agreement. It came Friday evening. When the WNBA submitted its latest proposal to the union, a source told ESPN, confirming news first reported by the Associated Press. This ended a more than 6-week wait from the Players Association for a counter to its latest offer. Players waking up every day. Did they respond yet? No. Hey, just checking in. Any update? It wasn't immediately known what the league's new offer entailed.
Revenue sharing. That's the real sticking point. The players are pushing for 30% of gross revenue in year one. Gross revenue means all the money coming in before any expenses, before charter flights, before upgraded facilities, before 5-star hotels, before medical services and security. The owners fired back with over 70% of net revenue, meaning profit after all those costs are paid. And here's where the math gets messy for the players' case. Asking for 30% of gross while the league is still running at a loss basically means asking the owners to cut even bigger checks to cover the gap. Last season, the WNBA lost $40 million, even with record attendance and ratings. So, where exactly is this 30% supposed to come from?
The W's no response is the response. They need to be realistic and sign that on the dotted line. Annie, you are too old guard positive for me. Oh, call out these delusional, entitled, childish, unprofessional, low IQ players still listening to the union leaders that want the season canceled. Wake up, fools. Yeah, that's a good point. The executive committee, they're really capitalizing on the lack of understanding that some players have. They're really taking
Listen
advantage
to how
of the
Ogamak
lack.
spins this. She says once revenue sharing is solved, everything else will fall into place. And yeah, because everything else already has. The owners have handed over nearly everything the players asked for, except the one piece that doesn't add up financially yet. Instead of recognizing that progress, the union keeps acting like they're up against some stubborn, unreasonable partner who won't budge. But the smart players get it. You can't share profits that don't exist. NBA players take 50% of basketball-related income because the NBA generates billions in actual profit. The WNBA players want that same model applied to a league still being subsidized by NBA owners to the tune of tens of millions each year.
Framing.
Enjoy the Super Bowl tomorrow. Let me know in the comment section below. If you've stuck around this long, one, I appreciate it. Appreciate all the support you guys have been giving this channel throughout this off season, from the start before I showed my face and to where we are right now. So I appreciate all the support, seriously. Thank you very much, all the members. I appreciate you guys. Let me know in the comment section below. Who do you have winning the Super Bowl? Seahawks or Patriots? And give me a score. See you next time, and as always.
And then Ogamak says something that completely clashes with the union's whole messaging strategy. She claims the 6-week wait was actually a gift. Time to talk to players, take the pulse of the league, dig into the fine print. She was in Nashville at Athletes Unlimited on Thursday doing exactly that. So if the delay was truly a gift, why has the union been publicly complaining about it for the last month and a half? You can't have it both ways. Either the owners disrespected you by making you wait, or they did you a favor by giving you time to organize. Pick a story and stick with it, because right now it looks like the union is just tossing out whatever narrative sounds good in the moment, with no care for
On
consistency.
key issues such as revenue sharing in their effort to strike a new CBA. We get it, revenue sharing. We get it. If that's the only key issue, well, just say that's the only key issue. Not few key issues. It's the only key issue. The WNBA, the owners, they've given them everything else but the 30%. That's all they want. It's just the 30%. The CBA is supposed to begin May 8th. The season is supposed to begin May 8th, but an expansion draft, free agency, and a rookie draft also need to happen before the league tips off. Ogumake said once revenue sharing is solved, the rest hopefully will fall into
Now, when
place.
the owners finally act, here's where it gets really alarming for the players. May 8th is supposed to be opening night, but before that, an expansion draft for Toronto and Portland has to happen. Free agency needs to roll out. The rookie draft has to be held. And get this, 80% of the league's players are free agents this offseason because of the expected salary bumps in the new CBA. This is the biggest chance for player movement in WNBA history, and it's all frozen because the union won't sign off on a deal that's already transformative. Every day without an agreement is another day of lost revenue. Sponsorships hang in the balance. TV partners are getting antsy. Fans are starting to wonder if there will even be a season. And all of this chips away at the league's momentum coming off its best year ever.
The league's previous offer last month would guarantee a maximum salary of $1 million in 2026. That could reach 1.3 through revenue sharing. That's up from the current $249,000 and could grow to nearly $2 million over the life of the agreement. That was on slides that were presented to players at Money Meeting and obtained by ESPN and other outlets. The slides also outlined 37 areas where the league was willing to make concessions that players wanted. Some of these proposals included adding 2 developmental player slots to teams, giving pregnant players the right to refuse trades, which I think is huge, actually. I think it's huge.
The union keeps insisting their confident games will be played. Okay, but how many games? 10, 20, 30? A full 44-game schedule? Because there's a huge difference between those scenarios, and vague reassurances aren't enough anymore. Players need to know if they should be chasing overseas contracts. Teams need clarity to plan training camps. Fans need to decide if they should buy tickets. And here's the uncomfortable truth no one in union leadership wants to admit. If there's a strike, there are hundreds of talented women's basketball players outside the WNBA who would jump at the chance to play. You think someone grinding overseas for years is going to pass up a WNBA contract out of solidarity with
Already
six-figure
delayed the
players?
expansion draft for Toronto.
Not a chance.
The CBA was announced in the middle of January 2020, a month after it had been agreed to. It could easily take 2 months from when a new CBA is reached to get the start of free agency, which was supposed to begin last month. With a massive salary raise expected in a new CBA, 80% of players in the league are free agents this offseason, which makes this the biggest opportunity for player movement in the history of the WNBA. A delay would hurt both sides, as every game that is missed, revenue would be lost, as would sponsorships, television money, and fan support. Ogwumike, who was in her third term as union president, she's
Look
a
at
dictator!
The comments under any of these union statements. Fans are genuinely baffled about why this is still an issue. The league gave you charter flights, massive salary increases, better hotels, upgraded facilities, improved benefits. Nearly everything on your wish list, and yet you're willing to cancel the season over a revenue-sharing model that doesn't even work yet because the money isn't there to share. That's not solidarity. That's not fighting for what you deserve. That's holding the entire league hostage over an accounting dispute while pretending it's about respect and equity. And the longer this drags on, the more fans are going to start seeing right through that narrative.
Now, the funny thing that these owners could do, shout out to Bane. Bane, happy belated birthday to you. And when the owners resubmit the same proposal they submitted before the players, this would be the funny thing. If the owners, just like the players send in a proposal to the owners say, fuck no. The players send them the same thing. The owners say, I'm not even going to respond. Now the owners, when they do.
And as always, here's what makes this situation so maddening. The WNBA just had its best season ever. Caitlin Clark brought unprecedented attention, ratings soared, attendance shattered records, and national media coverage hit levels that seemed impossible just 2 years ago. The league was finally breaking through to mainstream consciousness in a real, sustainable way. And now, instead of building on that momentum, we're talking about whether there's even going to be a season. Instead of expanding and growing, we're stuck in a negotiating stalemate where both sides are supposedly waiting for the other to blink. But here's the harsh reality: the owners don't have to blink. They have other revenue streams. They're not relying on WNBA income to pay the bills. The players, on the other hand, need the season. They need paychecks, exposure, and the chance to play while attention is still high. If this momentum dies, it won't come back soon. Union leadership keeps talking about leverage and power, but leverage only works if you're willing to follow through. Are these players really prepared to sit out an entire season over net versus gross revenue? To watch their careers stall for an accounting principle? Many of them don't actually want to strike. They want to play, compete beyond the court. But they're being told that taking the deal would be selling out, betraying the cause, holding the line no matter what. That's an enormous pressure on players who just want to know if they have jobs this summer. The union submitted their proposal at Christmas. The owners took 6 weeks to respond. Now, the union reviews the new offer, and every day that process takes is another day closer to May 8th with no resolution. Expansion drafts should have happened, free agency should be rolling, training camp scheduled, but nothing moves while both sides wait for the other to act. Owners think they've been generous. Players feel lowballed on revenue sharing. Neither seems motivated to compromise because time seems on their side. But time isn't on anyone's side. Every week without a deal erodes credibility, steals momentum, and risks fans looking elsewhere. This isn't chess. It's a real league, finally thriving, now at risk over a dispute about money that doesn't even exist yet. So what happens next? The union reviews, probably rejects the offer because it lacks the gross revenue share. Owners dig in after massive concessions. May 8th approaches with no deal. Someone eventually has to ask, is this fight worth losing the season over? Most likely, a deal comes at the last possible moment, both sides claiming victory. But the damage is done. The drama overshadows a season that should be celebrated, and fans will remember the WNBA almost didn't happen because leadership couldn't figure out how to divide unrealized profits. The players deserve better pay, better conditions, and to be respected, and the latest owner's proposal gives them most of that. Not all, but most. Sometimes progress is incremental. Sometimes you take the massive win on the table instead of holding out for a perfect deal that doesn't exist. The WNBA is growing. That 30% of gross revenue might make sense in a few years, but in 2025, while the league is still losing tens of millions per year, it's not sustainable math. Ideology won't change that reality. So, the question becomes, accept the transformative deal now, or risk everything chasing a principle? Let me know in the comments, are the players right to hold out for 30% of gross, or should they take the massive improvements offered and revisit revenue sharing next round? This won't be resolved until someone decides the fight isn't worth the cost, and right now, neither side seems ready.